Look at any modern map, and it is easy to assume we have charted every square inch of the planet. We rely on satellites capable of reading a license plate from orbit, mapping the globe in high resolution. Because of this surveillance, the scientific consensus holds that the era of undiscovered giant predators is over. The formidable beasts of the Pleistocene epoch are dead, confined to history and natural history museums. But that assumption fails in the Alaskan interior. Millions of acres are locked in high-altitude, sub-zero blizzards, where standard biology struggles, and modern equipment is rendered useless by the cold. It's in these whiteout conditions that the indigenous Iñupiat warn of the Ahmuiv, the Great Shadow. They describe a predator that dwarfs the native grizzly, standing 15 feet tall and hunting perfectly concealed within the swirling blizzards. To survive up there, this creature would require a highly specialized anatomy. Accounts detail a heavily reinforced, thick-set skull atop a barrel-chested torso, all wrapped in a dense layer of matted, charcoal-black fur that traps body heat in extreme cold. Its eyes are adapted for almost total darkness. They reportedly contain a high-density tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer of tissue behind the retina that bounces scarce light back through the eye, creating a piercing amber glow in the night. But its primary hunting tools are its paws. Each limb is equipped with curved obsidian black claws, measuring a full 10 inches long, capable of ripping through ice, rock, and prey with equal ease. The Ahmuiv represents a theoretical biological extreme, a predator evolved specifically to hunt and dominate an environment previously thought to be uninhabitable by large life forms. The history of this predator is deeply etched into the oral traditions of the Alaskan interior. For generations, Iñupiat elders have passed down warnings of a mountain guardian, a bear spirit that watches over the highest peaks. And they noted one very specific, terrifying behavioral difference. While standard grizzlies hibernate to survive the harsh winter, the Ahmuiv stays awake, actively hunting through the sub-zero months when food is most scarce. By the late 1800s, Russian fur traders began pushing deeper into the Alaskan interior. They quickly realized the local warnings were accurate, as entirely established trader camps were found completely destroyed in the snow. The physical evidence left behind at these ruined sites was impossible to ignore. Alongside the wreckage, traders documented massive 5-toed tracks pressing deep into the ice, measuring an astonishing 24 inches in length. The traders who survived these encounters reported the exact same visual. They described a towering charcoal-black silhouette stepping out of the blizzards, with those unmistakable glowing amber eyes staring back at them from the trees. These overlapping encounters across cultures established the Ahmuiv as a documented, objective hazard of frontier survival. The reports only grew more specific as time went on. In 1894, a group of gold prospectors set up camp near a frozen creek in the Yukon Territory and came face to face with the predator. The creature's roar released a deep, earth-shaking vibration that the men felt rising through the ground beneath their boots. When it finally stood up on its hind legs, the prospectors watched as the beast effortlessly swiped its arm right through the trunk of a mature pine tree, shattering the wood in a single, fluid motion. Decades later, in the 1940s, indigenous hunters documented the creature's predatory behavior up close when an Ahmuiv began stalking their winter village to raid the communal meat caches. The hunters described seeing a thick, silver-tipped limb as wide around as a tree trunk, reaching into the wooden structures. Those 10-inch claws sliced through frozen, rock-hard caribou hide as easily as cutting through paper. When the men opened fire to protect their food, the bullets reportedly vanished. The creature's incredibly dense fur and thick layers of winter blubber acted like biological armor, absorbing standard rifle rounds without slowing the beast down. By the mid-20th century, the Ahmuiv had cemented its status as an apex predator, perfectly insulated against the cold and completely immune to the standard weaponry of the era. For decades, modern science largely dismissed these historical reports. The Ahmuiv was written off as a psychological manifestation of extreme isolation, a monster born from campfire stories and cabin fever in the vast, empty wilderness. But our ability to monitor the wild is evolving. Today, high-altitude drones use thermal imaging, and durable trail cameras are finally penetrating the remote peaks of the Brooks Range. We no longer have to rely solely on the survival stories of stranded hunters. We can now continuously monitor the lethal, sub-zero environments where the beast is rumored to hunt, 24 hours a day. The physical evidence of the past, impossible footprints and shattered trees, is actively searched for through a digital lens. The same glowing amber eyes that terrified traders are what researchers scan for today, seeking a thermal signature against freezing night noise. As digital surveillance reaches the highest peaks, the Ahmuiv is moving out of the realm of campfire myth and into the crosshairs of a modern scientific pursuit. High-resolution satellite surveillance and the steady expansion of modern industry create a sense that the world is fully mapped. We assume every large predator has been cataloged, and the age of global mystery has been closed by technology. The Alaskan Brooks Range defies this assumption. It is an impenetrable landscape of unmapped high-altitude limestone caves where sub-zero blizzards and extreme verticality halt human exploration at the timberline. Indigenous folklore describes a massive predator called the Ahmuiv, a creature that historically avoided the settled lowlands. Local knowledge suggests that as industrial centers grew, this predator retreated further into these high-altitude dead zones. Data from remote research monitors is now catching up to the legends. Modern sensors are tracking 15-foot heat signatures moving through sub-zero storms, temperatures that would cause lethal hypothermia in any other known mammal. These sensors are tracking a barrel-chested predator with a wide, grizzly-like skull. The investigation has moved from oral tradition to a biological profile of an organism equipped to rule the most hostile terrain on the planet. In 2008, a bush pilot flying over the gates of the Arctic National Park provided the first modern visual evidence from a high-altitude vantage point. While crossing a pristine snowfield, the pilot photographed a massive black shape moving with a heavy, rhythmic gait across the ice. The creature's charcoal black fur creates a sharp silhouette against the snow, lacking the brown or tan coloration of a standard grizzly. Digital analysis of the 4K frames confirms a 15-foot biological beast. The footage reveals a pronounced shoulder hump and a gait that suggests immense power, even in deep snow. The creature moves with a fluid ease that suggests total environmental dominance. This is an apex predator at home in a landscape that kills almost everything else. In 2016, the evidence moved closer. A research station in the Brooks Range recorded a series of low-frequency roars that triggered the facility's acoustic sensors. Forensic audio analysis shows that these vocalizations reached a decibel level far higher than the maximum output of any known bear species. To produce a roar with this resonance, the animal would require a massive 15-foot barrel-chested anatomy to serve as an internal resonating chamber. The recordings were followed by the discovery of physical damage at the station that matched the immense scale suggested by the audio. A steel security door near the recording site was found with 3 10-inch gashes. The claws had sliced through the metal, leaving behind jagged edges that confirm the creature's sheer physical strength. These gashes provide a tangible link to the pilot's aerial sightings. The massive predator seen from the air is capable of applying enough force to shred reinforced industrial materials. In 2023, hikers found the first biological samples of the creature at an elevation of 8,000 feet. They recovered a tuft of coarse, charcoal black fur with silver tips, snagged on a rock near the peaks. DNA sequencing of the hair follicles initially showed a 90% match with the modern grizzly. The remaining 10% of the sequence was initially unidentifiable in modern mammalian databases. However, when compared against paleogenetic samples from the Pleistocene era, these markers began to align. This genetic profile matches the blueprint of the short-faced bear, a massive prehistoric carnivore. The DNA indicates that the Ahmuiv is a surviving evolutionary offshoot of this ancient megafauna. The genetic data confirms that the creature is an ancient biological reality, a species that has refined its survival for thousands of years in the ice. We maintain a sense of control in the lowlands through technology and infrastructure, but that control disappears at the high peaks of the Brooks Range. The Ahmuiv persists as an active predator, navigating deep snow and extreme altitudes with a physical ease that reflects its prehistoric origins. As long as the Alaskan interior remains a frontier of unmapped limestone and sub-zero storms, humanity is only a visitor in a territory ruled by something much older. The evidence suggests a sobering truth. The Ice Age megafauna didn't entirely vanish. They simply moved to the one place where we couldn't follow.